Yeah. All right, you guys, what's going on? This is your boy Town. All right, so check this out. All right, so apparently things are heating up between Charles Barkley, former NBA player, Hall of Famer, former league MVP, not finals MVP, because, at the end of the day, he was never able to, win a finals. But nevertheless, everybody knows Charles Barkley for the last 20 plus years have been doing broadcasting. And I think sometimes Charles Barkley gets besides himself. He overanalyzes a situation. And I know he does it for entertainment value, but sometimes he doesn't know how to distinguish a critique from disrespecting somebody. And apparently Kendrick Perkins, not Kendrick Lamar, KP, or K Perk, says Kendrick Lamar is K Dot. We'll call Kendrick Perkins K Perk, and y'all can send that to what I'm saying, Kendrick Perkins. But nevertheless, we all know that Kendrick Perkins is a notorious LeBron James apologist. And he recently made comments saying that the Lakers saved the NBA season. Once again, that's the damn problem. The Lakers. Now, I'm not always on Charles Barkley's side, which, to be honest with you, I'm not on Charles Barkley's side, I'll say 9 out of 10 times. But Charles Barkley spoke on the situation going on with Cleveland and basically OKC, the two best teams record-wise in the NBA. And they're not getting enough praise. And this is where, once again, the NBA should be trying to market and get people to do advertising, talking about these two teams, marketing the teams, Donovan Mitchell and co, and Shea Alexander and co, and in the city of Cleveland, the city of Oklahoma City. But no, they're only fixated on talking about the Lakers, the Warriors by force, and the Celtics. So apparently Charles Barkley went off. He basically called, K Perk out on being a LeBron apologist. And to me, I think he took it too far. Listen, you can take swipes at people. I do it all the time. But when it gets to the point to where you're just being flat out disrespectful, you know what come with it. Okay? And everybody gets besides themselves. And I find it rather funny that people are coming after Kendrick Perkins, saying he's being too emotional, because Kendrick Perkins basically told Charles Barkley, hey man, keep the same energy next year when you guys are working on ESPN, which I got a funny feeling they're not going to be able to talk on Inside the NBA ESPN the same way as they were allowed to talk on TBS TNT. So I'm just telling you to expect changes. Now, hopefully they don't water down the show. Maybe they want to put a parental advisory. Maybe. But I hope they don't water down the show. So, with that being said, K Perk was mad. And he basically kind of was insinuating, like, dude, you're not going to disrespect me up close and personal if we're working in the same studio and everything. And I'm pretty sure they're going to, be doing basically some collaborations. Of course they are. So he basically just told Charles he not gonna be disrespected. Now, of course, the Charles Barkley apologist said that K. Perkins being too sensitive, but I think to a point, Charles Barkley takes stuff too far to where he's being overly emotional. I think somebody of Charles Barkley's stature has to understand that he is at a status where there's just certain things he can't say. He can criticize somebody, but when you start calling people stupid and an idiot and all that kind of stuff, that's not a good look. So Charles Barkley does have to be held accountable. There's other ways to, respond to somebody. And Charles Barkley has to understand people don't take too kindly to being disrespected like that. And a lot of times, once again, this younger generation, they think, being held accountable and getting called out when they're disrespecting somebody is being sensitive. Okay, cool. Okay. So when you get put on your back or worse, okay, then what? Because one thing this new generation lack is accountability. And they love to try to play reverse psychology and try to make it look like you out of pocket for calling them out on disrespecting you. But that don't work on me. Okay. Is there such thing as being a little extremely emotional? Yeah, absolutely. But then, is there such thing as being extremely disrespectful? Yes. But the problem is we don't know how to balance that, or people try to ignore the fact when they get out of pocket. And that's why it's very difficult to find common ground with this newer generation, because they are taught it's all about disrespecting people and it's all about them and it's about their opinion and nobody else's. This, I'm right, everybody's wrong. Instead of trying to find common ground. So I understand what Perk was going through when he heard Charles Barkley, talking to him like that. Because at the end of the day, they both played in the league. And whether people like it or not, Perk does have a ring. And I guess he feel by Charles Barkley being an elder statesman, he shouldn't talk to him like that, because I do think Charles Barkley does get besides himself. We want to talk about, Perk being overly emotional. Well, Charles Barkley at times has shown he could be over emotional. This is the same Charles Barkley that threatened to punch Draymond Green. This is the same Charles Barkley that said if anybody vote for Donald Trump, he gonna punch him. So why don't people call him out on him being overly emotional and sensitive? Okay, because he fits your narrative at that time. So it's tit for tat, and people need to understand that. He figured that, listen, I think K. Perk understand that Charles Barkley has a right to his opinion, but I think he don't like the fact that he's calling him stupid and an idiot on the airwaves, because guess what? These dudes have social media sites. So guess what? When they hear Charles referring to him as stupid and an idiot, well, guess what? They're going to come on his social media accounts and regurgitate what Charles Barkley says to him. And people just don't like that. So once again, he has to remember that. Charles Barkley has to remember stuff like that. So all this stuff about, Kendrick Perkins being too emotional and threatening a senior citizen and all that kind of stuff. Well, Charles Barkley has to remember, you just can't go around saying anything and everything you want. There do need to be a certain line of etiquette, decorum, and respect. You can say you disagree with somebody. Now, I work for a more private entity. I don't work for a network. So when I do this media stuff, I'll really work for myself. So there's certain things I can say that people that's on mainstream TV and media can't, because I'm independent. So I think people need to understand the difference. So I just wanted to speak on that. They're both wrong. Just real talk. And I do think that they need to talk behind the scenes. You know, because it do look as if, you know, K Perk is willing to, you know what I'm saying, lay hands on Barkley. And I hope it doesn't get to that. So I think that they need to, you know, I think that they need to try to settle this and just speak behind the scenes. There you have it. It's your boy Tim. I'm out.